It really frustrated Jesus, but they didn't get it. Have you ever been in a place where you legitimately didn't understand what someone was saying? I'm not talking about a different language that you didn't know, but they're trying to give you a message that you aren't receiving. They just keep saying it and you just keep missing it. When I was 12 or so, my mother let me take guitar lessons. My teacher, Bill Bradway, who I later found out was a world-famous steel guitarist, was passing his gift on to young people who didn't know what they were receiving. I remember him trying to teach me a lesson in music theory. He explained this concept that I know now to be very simple, but every time he said it, I was just confused. No matter how this guy said it for the first time, I couldn't get it. The disciples were in a similar situation in Matthew 16. Jesus had been teaching them this straightforward and simple lesson, but no matter how many times or how many ways he said it, they were missing the point. Jesus was trying to warn them about the bad teaching of the Pharisees and how if they didn't rid themselves of the principles of that teaching, that it would corrupt what they were learning from him. It really frustrated Jesus, but they didn't get it. I think we can all be there sometimes in following Jesus. There's something we keep running up against, and the answer is the same, but it might not make sense, and it's frustrating for us to miss it. But rest assured, God is trying to tell us something. The disciples, to their credit, kept listening, and Jesus kept on teaching, and as they grew, at some point they began to understand. There was a tenacity in learning that required them to keep listening. Too often we walk away from the confusing lesson. Maybe what God is saying doesn't seem to work in our society. We are left with 1,000, well, if that, then this, so that won't work, and we just eject from the lesson. I eventually left Mr. Bradway's studio, but I stayed with the guitar. I remember being in college in a music theory class years later, and the teacher ended up teaching the same concept that the older guitarist was trying to teach me, but this time I got it, and I thought, so that's what Mr. Bradway was talking about. Like the disciples, it's important to keep on listening and not let "I don't understand" be the reason you stop. I didn't stop with music, and eventually, as the lesson I didn't understand kept repeating in the back of my mind, I came to the place of understanding when I wasn't really expecting it. Not understanding right now is a part of the process of learning the lesson later, but it needs some time to bake in the oven, so to speak. Maybe there's some life experience that you'll have to learn, a hurt you'll have to experience, a blessing you'll have to see to really make the lesson come home to you. But if you're not dead, God's not done. So keep on listening, keep hearing, keep living, and eventually you'll understand. James wrote that God gives wisdom liberally, without finding fault, but we must believe and not doubt. In other words, keep on believing in Him, tenaciously holding on to Him, trusting that understanding is coming, even when the trusting doesn't seem to make sense. And if we lived life that way, we'd have a better world. I'm Jim Campbell, lead pastor of Bay West Church. Until next time.